The next thing I would like to show you at the beginning of learning FreeCAD, and at the same time show with a simple example the advantages of parametric 3D CAD systems, in which 3D modeling is based on the history of operations, is the ability to make changes. At this point we have created one sketch and one operation, but with this simple example I want to show you how changes can be made to both the sketch and the operation. As for editing the sketch, as I mentioned, to edit the sketch we simply need to enter edit mode for that sketch. This sketch may initially be invisible. It may seem that this sketch doesn't exist, but when we expand the operation in which this sketch was used, we can edit that sketch. We right-click and select Edit Sketch, or simply double-click the left mouse button on the sketch. Here in this sketch we can make changes. For example, we can change something. To edit a dimension, we double-click the left mouse button on the dimension we want to change and input a new dimension value. As you can see, the sketch changes, and those changes will also be applied to the model. The model has been enlarged. It may not be very visible, but besides making changes of this kind, we can also create additional geometry in this sketch. For example, I will now select to draw a circle, and I will draw a circle whose center will lie at the origin of the coordinate system. That is, in this case, at the center of the rectangle. We can do this in such a way that, while drawing the circle, we automatically constrain the center of the circle to the origin point of the coordinate system. Here note that when I hover over the origin of the coordinate system, that point is highlighted and a constraint appears next to the cursor. If I click the left mouse button here, the center of the circle will be constrained to the origin point of the coordinate system, which in this case is also the center of the rectangle. And now, while drawing the circle, I specify the diameter as, for example, 40 millimeters, and we have created a circle whose center lies at the origin of the coordinate system, and the circle has a diameter of 40 millimeters. Now, when I close the sketch, the changes have been applied to the model. I will now edit this sketch, and in the form of a presentation, I will show you a second way we can create such a circle. I select this circle, press the delete key to remove the circle. Now, I will select to draw a circle and draw a circle anywhere with any diameter. I press the right mouse button to finish that command. So I can freely change the position of the circle, and I can also freely change the diameter of the circle. To dimension the circle, I select this circle and choose the dimensioning option so that I can manually add the dimension of the circle. As for dimensioning, we will use dimensioning regularly. This dimensioning works in such a way that by selecting this option, FreeCAD will automatically apply the dimension to the specified geometry. If we want to specifically choose which dimension we want to use, we can expand this option, and here we can use selected dimensions. But in this case, we have the geometry of the circle, and we want to dimension the diameter. So selecting this option, FreeCAD will automatically recognize that we want to specify the diameter of this circle. The circle was selected, and here the dimension appeared. I click the left mouse button somewhere to specify the location of this dimension, and input the dimension value of 40 millimeters. And OK. The circle is dimensioned, but the position of the circle is not dimensioned. The dimensioning is still active, so I right-click to cancel this command. Now I would like to place the center of the circle at this point. We can do this using one of the constraints. As I mentioned, constraints remove degrees of freedom from the geometry and define relationships. That is, how one geometry behaves relative to another. In this case, I would like to specify that these 2 points will be simply coincident, that they will lie in the same place. Therefore, I select these 2 points and choose the coincident constraint. This constraint caused these 2 points to lie in the same place. They are now constrained to each other. We have removed all degrees of freedom. The sketch is fully constrained. We close the sketch and we have changes applied to the solid. As you can see, the coincident constraint in this case we could add automatically while drawing the geometry, or we could add such a constraint later. Both methods are good. I know that for many people, the second method, where we first create the geometry somewhere nearby, add dimensions there, and then later define constraints, is more convenient. Because by adding constraints manually, we have a greater assurance that those constraints will be applied correctly. In the case of using automatic constraints, it is somewhat quicker, but sometimes a constraint that is different from what we wanted may be applied. Of course, in the case of such simple examples, using automatic constraints, we are unlikely to make a mistake. It's more likely that a different constraint than we wanted will be applied, but in more complex designs, when there are many different specific geometries close together, there may be a situation where an automatic constraint will be applied that is different from the one we depend on. That is when we can apply the second method of creating geometry, where we create geometry next to each other, and then we use constraints manually.